not only one of the best defenders, but he was one of the most feared.
He had the psychological games. He'd get in your head.
And he impacted the game a lot bigger.
Dennis Rodman. Unbelievable hustle play by Rodman. He just wants it a little bit more than everybody else right now.
When we talk about the most unique and influential players in NBA history, Dennis Rodman is a name that always comes up. Rodman wasn't just a player. He was a force of nature, a phenomenon on the court who redefined what it meant to be a defensive player. With a career that saw him tear through some of the greatest names in basketball, Rodman didn't just play the game, he destroyed legends. Here is how Dennis Rodman destroyed NBA legends. Dennis Rodman's path to greatness was like no other. It's probably the greatest redemption story you'll ever hear. Unlike many NBA stars, Rodman didn't shine in high school, was nowhere near a 5-star recruit. Well, understandable considering Rodman was just 5'9" in high school. He did not even make his high school basketball team. That's right, this future NBA Hall of Famer couldn't even crack the roster in high school. But for whatever witchcraft or miracle, Rodman experienced a growth spurt after graduating. He shot up to 6'7". The basketball gods have spoken. They want Rodman to be great. Rodman's journey took him to Cook County College, a small community college in Texas. It wasn't exactly a stepping stone to the NBA, but for Rodman, this was the beginning of his basketball career. Here, he started to hone his craft, particularly in rebounding and defense, the skills that would later become his bread and butter. He then transferred to Southeastern Oklahoma State University, a small NAIA school, where he truly began to blossom. Rodman didn't just play well, he dominated. He averaged over 25 points and 15 rebounds per game, catching the attention of NBA scouts. But more importantly, he was developing an intense, almost obsessive work ethic. The man who once couldn't make his high school team was now a relentless machine, driven by the need to prove everyone wrong. And who else wants a workhorse more than the workhorses themselves? Enter the Detroit Pistons, a team that was already known for its tough physical play. Known as the Bad Boys, this team wasn't just about winning. They were about dominating, intimidating, and let's be honest, scaring the living daylights out of their opponents. And Dennis Rodman fit in like a glove. Rodman wasn't the biggest or the strongest player on the court, but he was the most tenacious. He turned defense and rebounding into an art form, a form that was less about finesse and more about pure, unadulterated effort. He had an uncanny ability to read the ball's trajectory, predicting where it would land and getting there before anyone else.
It's going to spin. You got a magic and maybe spin. When Michael shoot over here, I position myself right there. Now I hit the rim, it's boom, click and go back this way, boom, here, click and go that way, boom, that way, click here and go back this way.
It's like he had a sixth sense, call it basketball ESP, that allowed him to be in the right place at the right time. Opponents would go up for what seemed like an easy rebound, only to find Rodman swooping in out of nowhere, snatching the ball like it was his lunch. But it's not a gift. It's a result of Rodman's unwavering dedication and effort. How? Well, Rodman just watched thousands of hours worth of videotapes of his opponents missing shots to see if there's a common spot that the ball would go to. It's like analyzing every angle of a missed shot to increase his odds of knowing where the ball would go after his opponent bricked a shot. Have you ever heard someone do that before? No, only the worm himself, Dennis Rodman. Rodman really mastered the art of missed shots. But Rodman's contributions to the Bad Boys weren't just about stats. He brought a level of energy and intensity that was contagious. He was the spark plug that ignited the Pistons' engine, diving for loose balls, harassing the opposition, and getting under their skin. Isaiah Thomas even described what it's like to have someone like Dennis Rodman on your side.
Dennis Rodman, the way he rebounded the basketball and the way he played, he made rebounding and defense sexy.
Must be good to have a guy like Dennis Rodman fighting on your side. Imagine trying to play your best game with a mosquito buzzing around your head constantly. That was Rodman for his opponents. Only this mosquito was a 6'7" and could bench press a Tesla. After his time with the Pistons, Rodman's career took another twist that would solidify his place in NBA history. his move to the Chicago Bulls.
Last week, the Bulls announced the acquisition of a player many people consider the most controversial basketball star in the NBA. He is Dennis Rodman, one of the best rebounders in NBA history. Is it one of the shrewdest moves the Bulls have ever made, or one of the dumbest?
When Rodman joined the Bulls in 1995, the team was already a powerhouse, led by Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. But with the addition of Rodman, they became virtually unstoppable. Rodman's role on the Bulls was clear: be the defensive anchor and dominate the boards. And he did just that. In Chicago, Rodman wasn't just a great player. He became a vital piece of the Bulls dynasty. His rebounding numbers were off the charts, averaging over 15 rebounds per game during his time with the Bulls. But more than the stats, it was his presence that made the Bulls so formidable. Rodman gave the Bulls something they lacked: a player who could disrupt the opposition's game plan without needing the ball in his hands. In Chicago, Rodman became even more versatile. He wasn't just playing power forward. He was guarding centers, small forwards, and sometimes even guards. His ability to switch on defense was a nightmare for his opponents. Imagine being a guard trying to get past Rodman's wingspan, or a center trying to outmuscle him. Good luck with that. Rodman's antics off the court, from dyeing his hair every color of the rainbow to wearing wedding dresses, might have grabbed headlines, but it was his focus on the court that made him a legend. While the world was talking about his wild lifestyle, Rodman was quietly doing his job, helping the Bulls win championships. In fact, during his 3 years in Chicago, the Bulls won 3 NBA titles. Coincidence? I think not. So what is Dennis Rodman's legacy? To sum it up in one word: transformative. Rodman changed the way we think about defense and rebounding in basketball. He proved that you didn't need to be a prolific scorer to dominate the game. In a league that often celebrates the player with the most points, Rodman was a reminder that basketball is a team sport. And sometimes, the most important players are the ones doing the dirty work. His persona, his eccentric character, made him a cultural icon. He wasn't just a basketball player. He was a pop culture phenomenon.
Shaq, Kobe, and Dennis on the same team. Who's the biggest superstar?
You.
No.
Kobe?
Dennis Rodman.
I know that. I mean, I heard all the stories.
From his friendship with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un to his brief stint in professional wrestling, Rodman's life off the court has been as unpredictable and fascinating as his playing career. He was out there doing side quests. And let's not forget his effect on the boxing world. Wait, what? That's right. Rodman's relentless style of play inspired athletes beyond the basketball court. Boxers admired his toughness, his willingness to throw himself onto the fray, and his ability to come out on top. You could argue that Rodman brought a bit of that boxing mentality into basketball, where every rebound was like a round in the ring, and every opponent was just another fighter to be outlasted. Dennis Rodman wasn't your typical NBA star, and that's exactly why he was so great. He didn't need to score 30 points a night to destroy his opponents. Rodman was a rebounding machine. Despite being undersized for a power forward at 6'7", he led the league in rebounding for 7 consecutive seasons, often out-rebounding much taller players. His relentless energy, positioning, and understanding of the ball's trajectory off the rim made him almost impossible to box out. Rodman's work ethic and commitment to mastering this aspect of the game set him apart as one of the greatest rebounders of all time. Defensively, Rodman was unmatched. He could guard multiple positions, from point guards to centers, with equal effectiveness. His physicality, mental toughness, and ability to get into the heads of his opponents were legendary. Rodman knew how to use his body, whether by being in the right position or by using hands and feet to disrupt the flow of the opposing team's offense. Rodman's greatness also stemmed from his ability to sacrifice his own statistics and ego for the success of the team. He was a key contributor to 5 NBA championships, 2 with the Detroit Pistons and 3 with the Chicago Bulls, focusing on doing the dirty work that helped his teams win. His willingness to embrace the less glamorous aspects of basketball, like defense and rebounding, while playing with an intense passion and flair, made him a vital piece of championship-winning teams and a true basketball icon. He did it with defense, with rebounding, with sheer willpower. Rodman was the ultimate underdog story, a player who went from being a high school benchwarmer to one of the greatest defenders and rebounders the game has ever seen. But perhaps the most impressive thing about Rodman is that he did it all his way. Whether it was dyeing his hair, partying until dawn, or befriending world leaders, Rodman never tried to fit into anyone else's mold. He was authentically himself, on and off the court. And that's what made him not just a great player, but a legend. So even if you're 5'9" in high school, or was just a scrawny kid, or afraid of whatever people thinks of you, Dennis Rodman would be a reminder that you could do extraordinary things, and even make NBA legends fearing for their lives. Now it's your turn to share your thoughts. Do you think the 96-98 Bulls could win the three-peat if it weren't for Rodman? Which current NBA player resembles the most to the worm? Leave your comments down below, and as always, thank you for watching.